What's up, guys? So today I want to teach you how to build a deck. We're building a small deck on this tiny house, and I thought it was a perfect time to go through all the different steps of what materials to use, how to properly lay out the deck, how to support the deck, and what type of hardware to use. But before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and just hit the subscribe button below, and if you've already subscribed, make sure you turn on the notifications so you know when every single how-to video comes about each and every day. Also, if you're excited about this, hit the like button, and even if you're not excited, hit it anyways because it helps us grow this channel. All right, let's get started. We have this deck that we've built here on this big tiny house. Now the cool thing about this deck is there's actually going to be a spiral staircase here that'll take you up to a roof deck. But let's focus on the small deck and go through all the different steps here. The first thing we had to do is we had to figure out how long or how deep our deck was going to be, and in this case it's about 5 feet. Then we had to figure out how wide we wanted the deck to be. This deck is about 12 feet wide. This is important because you have to figure out which way your joists are going to run for your deck. Now if it's a small deck like this and you have only 5 feet, you can use 2x4 joists to span that short distance. You can actually go up to about 6 feet. After that, I'd really recommend going to a taller piece of lumber like a 2x6, which is what this is across the front here. And that'll take you can go about 10 feet with that. And if you want more information about the different sizes of lumber and what the spans are, all you got to do is Google span chart for lumber, and it'll tell you all those things. And we'll put a link in the description below so you can figure out exactly what lumber thickness you need to span whatever distance. But when you lay this out, you want to span those joists across the shortest run, and in this case it was the 5-foot run, so we used the 2x4s. Now, unlike a traditional house, we're building on a trailer chassis, but all the same kind of principles apply. You want to make sure that you have a nice header platform. It runs the same way as the long side of your deck. Typically it's going to run parallel with your house if you're going to tie this into a structure, which is what we've done on this side. So we have a ledger board across the house that's secured tightly to the actual house itself, and then from there we run our joist outward towards our rim joist, and it's all supported on the outside by this beam or header setup. And then from there, when you put your concrete posts in the ground, you'll want to use either a 4x4 or a 6x6 post, but whatever post you decide to use to hold your header from your concrete up to the bottom of your header, you want to make sure that your concrete has about 2 inches on each side. So for a 4x4 post, I like to put an 8-inch post hole in the ground. If you go 6x6, you probably want to go like 10. And the reason for that is after you lay your concrete and you get your holes dug and you put the concrete in the ground, the next step is you're going to have to try to lay this out now, and you have to square it. If those posts aren't 100% in the right spot and you made that post too tight to your post, for your column, that concrete, you might end up with a column like that hangs a little bit off the concrete. So I always recommend going a couple inches bigger than whatever your actual column is going to be. And in our case, we'll use 4x4 posts to go up to the next section, but let's stick to this side. So once you've figured out what you're going to need to support your deck, then it's time to then lay out your joists. And in this case, we took a measurement from here, and we ran with the same exact measurement all the way across, because what we did is we pulled a line from that corner to this corner and pulled it super tight. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to sight the actual structure that you're tying into. Now, let's say that it's an old house and it's kind of wavy, or maybe it's got a bow in it or a dip. You still want to make sure that your ledger board is tight to the house. But what you'll do to make sure that this stays super straight is let's say at this point, the string is tight to the wall. Well, then this measurement is going to be your true measurement. And then from that measurement, you'll look a little farther down, and let's say you have like a 1-inch gap over here, like it goes in 1 inch. Then you'll add that 1 inch to this. And then that's what this measurement would be. So let's say this one's 55, you would make this one 56, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to pick up that difference at the wall so that when you get out here, it's nice and straight. Because whatever you do here, it's going to reflect out here. So if the house is not straight, you still want your deck to be straight. So one way to hide that is by doing that process that I just explained. Now once you have all your joists in place, you want to put joist hangers in. And it's really important to properly size these joist hangers. It's really important that when you are sizing the joist hangers, you buy the right joist hanger for the type of lumber that you're using. All of the joist hangers, whether it's the smallest one or the biggest one, is going to support the joist. But what you're looking for is you're looking for full support coverage on the sides to prevent twisting and things like that. Another thing that we like to do is we'll install bridging. And on this small of a run, it's really not necessary. But when you start to get out to like 8, 10-foot spans, these boards have a tendency to twist when you're walking on them. So we like to snap a line down the middle and put bridging in, much similar to what we've done on this roof deck over here. We have all that bridging down the center. So another thing that I think is really important is, in our case, we're going to have another section of deck above this deck, because we're actually taking the rooftop deck and we're bringing it all the way out to the end of here, and that needs to be supported by something. So we're going to have 4x4 posts that connect from this corner up to our beams that will hold this section of the roof. But what's important is you want to make sure that you have a solid corner. If you're going to have a double deck, or you're going to have posts or something like that that support a structure above, you want to make sure that you have enough meat here. So what we've done here is we've crossed everything over so that everything locks together. Instead of running both of these boards long and then having both of these be short, by doing it this way, we've installed this board to this one, nailed it, and then we put this board to here, nailed that. Then we take this board, nail it here and here, and this creates a really solid locking corner. And because we're floating out here on this section of the deck, all we have is this small support from our trailer. We want to ensure that we have really good support here. But also, I like to create this corner so that when I put my posts on here, I don't have to have a deck material on the frame yet. I can actually just put my post. It's a solid footing to then go up to the next level. Another thing that I like to do whenever you're spanning past your beam, so let's say you have really good footing like 8 feet from the house, right? And then you want to go another 2 feet. So you cantilever past the beam. To keep everything really solid, I like to double up that outside for a number of different reasons. It gives a solid, it prevents twisting and things like that, and it's really going to give that solid footing for when you put on your railings or any other kind of trimming around the deck. So, well, listen, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to get this all wrapped up, and we got to get the second floor built. But if you have any questions, leave them below, and always like, comment, and if you think that somebody would find value in this, or you know somebody that's getting ready to start their own DIY project of a deck, be sure to share this video with them. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button so that you know exactly when we put a new how-to video out there. See you next time.